Hello everyone, my name is Mehdi Kordnavasti. This is the 5 movie about the chapter 4 Thinking IT Through Service Strategy ITIL, and in this movie we will talk demand management. Let us start with two strategy questions. Where does the demand for IT service come from? And how do you know when and how often your IT services will be used? The answer is from the business. Your IT services are only used when the business needs them. Users only use your email system when they want to send a message. The sales department only uses the sales ordering system when one of your organization's customers contact the sales department to place an order. Therefore, the IT services must work when the business needs them, not the other way around. Your users don't use the IT service simply because they exist. They use them because they fulfill a need. So, if you want to know how much of a service is needed, you have to look at the business activities that the service supports. For example, the IT department of a manufacturing organization is running low on network bandwidth and the business time of the day. In order to share the available network capacity, the sales department is asked to reduce the number of sale orders and services from customers between 10 and 12 a.m. What do you think the sales department's response is? Another example, if you were managing a supermarket, how would you decide how many staff to put on the checkout each day? How do you know how many staff are required? Hopefully, you identify the business times for the supermarket, when most customer visit, and then match the number of the staff at the tills to the ebb and flow the customers throughout the day. Of course, what is the consequence of getting this wrong? A queue builds up. Not a problem. You may say, when a queue forms, I'll put more staff on. Well, if you don't have spare staff in the building already, you won't be able to cope. The queue will get longer, and some customers may not return. On the other hand, if you're asked a lot of staff to come in just in case, there may be nothing for them to do. The moral of the story is that you have a plan ahead and do your best to predict the busy times. ITIL definition. The purpose of the demand management process is to understand, anticipate, and influence customer demand for services, and to work with capacity management to ensure the service provider has capacity to meet this demand. Demand management get involved in every stage of the service life cycle to ensure that services are designed, tested, and delivered to help achieve the business outcomes at the appropriate levels of activity. Demand management providers and provides an important input into service portfolio management by helping to decide the risks associated with the investing new or change IT service. You can't manufacture IT capacity in advance and store it for later use. And excessive capacity generates costs without creating value. Therefore, demand management is establish whether demand exists for a service and then contributes to the business case for a service and then ensure that the cost of production is factored into the cost of the service. What is the PBA or pattern of business activity? In the words of ITIL books, a pattern of business activity or PBA is a workload profile of one or more business activities. PBAs are used to help the IT service provider understand and plan for different levels of business activities. Business processes are primary source of demand for service. So, identifying the usage of the business processes establish patterns for the usage of the services or PBAs. You need to identify, analyze, and document patterns of usage of business processes. And in doing so, you identify the demand that business processes put on the IT services. Record the following information about the PBA. First, frequency. How often this pattern occurs in the business. Next, volume. The amounts of activity, for example, how many sales orders are processed in one day. And then, location. Where in the organization the business activity takes place. Which department, building, or country. And the last is duration. How long the PBAs last. For example, a theater ticket agency wants to be sure it has enough telephone operators to handle the demands for ticket requests for concerts and shows. It monitors its customer activity to discover the peak and true-up demand. The agency discovered that 70% of customers require tickets on the first day of release, and that demand slowly decreased over time. However, the agency notes that within 2 weeks of the event, demand increased again. This fluctuation in demand is the PBA. User profile. The ITIL book says a user profile is a pattern of user demand for IT service. Each user profile includes one or more PBAs. A user profile is a combination of many PBAs. User profiles are based on rules and responsibilities and are typically used to group PBAs into common activity groups. So, a user profile represents a typical work profile of a user. For example, a member of the sales team has three main business activities: contacting customer, for which he or she uses the customer relationship management IT service, then taking orders, for which he or she uses the sale ordering IT service, and the next is creating invoices, for which he or she uses the financial management IT service. Each activity is associated with a PBA which tells you how often and when the activities are performed. By combining the three PBAs, you get a good idea of all the business activity performed by a salesperson, and hence the demand for all three IT services. The IT department can now use this to calculate the extra load each new salesperson will put on the IT service. Looking at the activities of demand management. Understanding PBAs helps you to plan and manage the service throughout the life cycle. Service strategy identify the services and outcomes and the associated PBAs. Using the service portfolio management process, you can approve investment for additional capacity, new services, and change to services. And the service design. In the service design part, you can optimize the design of the service to suit the demand pattern. Availability management and capacity management will identify the assets need to meet the PBAs. Next activity in demand management is the service transition. Is valuable input to testing and validating services to ensure that they can meet the demands of the PBAs. Next activity is service operation. Technical staff will monitor the service to ensure that the service levels are met. If necessary, they'll make better use of resources by adjusting the allocation of resources and consolidating demands. And the last activity is CSI. Demand management can identify trends in the PBAs over time that may give rise to improvement and changes. The demand management process encompasses many activities. Here is a brief description. Identifying source of demand forecasting. The information that allows you to identify PBAs can come from many sources, including business plan, marketing plan, production plans, and sales forecasts. Identifying PBAs and user profiles. Unsurprisingly, the activities that identify PBAs and user profiles. And the last is activity-based demand management. The activities involved in identify the capacity requirements of a service from the analysis of the business's activities that are enabled by the service. So you analyze how and when the business does what the business does. And then you use this to predict how much IT capacity you need, how much server power, network bandwidth, and disk storage, and how many software licenses, and possibly staff to support the service.
Welcome to today's demonstration of the demand management application in ServiceNow. The demand management application allows you to quickly capture and prioritize the demand in your organization, both inside IT and out. In this video, I'm going to show you how ServiceNow supports the process of managing incoming demand by providing an easily accessible intake form, a structured workflow for evaluating incoming demand, tools for gathering additional business case data, and finally, some powerful visualizations for making informed business decisions. Let's take a look. New ideas can be submitted in a number of different ways, but the easiest method is directly from the service catalog. As an example, we'll submit a request for a new quoting tool for our sales department. When we click the Submit button, the record flows directly into the demand management application. Once the idea is captured in the application, the demand manager can begin to process any of the items and collect the data points necessary to score the demand in relation to other projects currently being considered. For example, the demand manager can apply specific categorizations to the demand item based on the information included in the original submission. Additionally, if financial information is available, it can also be collected as part of the demand record to demonstrate the costs and returns anticipated for the work in question. There are a number of additional attributes that can be recorded which address certain aspects of the demand that may potentially impact the decision-making process. These include requirements, risks involved, decisions made to date, and even resource plans for who would be assigned to work on the project. Each is designed to provide an even deeper and broader understanding of the work being requested. Finally, the demand management application allows you to collaborate directly with key stakeholders that may be directly or indirectly impacted by the project of this type, and involve them in the demand evaluation and decision-making process. Stakeholder registers can be pre-built and associated to certain portfolios or categories to simplify and streamline the feedback process and avoid the need to create a stakeholder list each time. All the information and input that's captured as part of the demand processing workflow is specifically intended to support informed business decisions. To put it all together, ServiceNow has created some powerful visualizations of the information to facilitate data-driven strategic planning. Using the demand management bubble charts and evaluating demand based on risk versus value in relation to other projects, your organization can focus in on those initiatives that are most directly aligned with your current strategies and provide the most immediate value. You can hover over the bubbles to show the scoring values in real time, and like other charts in ServiceNow, click to drill down for even more detail. For a different perspective, demand managers and business leaders can also use a completely configurable timeline visualization to see how the project backlog stacks up for a given portfolio or time frame. This has been a brief overview of demand management in ServiceNow. To test drive it yourself, please go to the demand management application in the left navigation bar. Thank you.
Activity-based demand management involves identifying PBAs, grouping them into user profiles, documenting and coding PBAs so all of IT can use them to manage various aspects of the services. Developing differentiate offerings. By identifying and understanding PBAs, you may detect that your customers require different level of service at different time of the month or year. By working with the service portfolio management process, you can identify different service packages matched to the needs of the customer. Management of operational demand. Generally speaking, the IT organization has to ensure that service meet the service level target agreed with the business. However, sometimes you may use demand management at the tactical level to influence the users to use the service when you want them to use it. For example, of telephone service providers, you often get a deal in which evening and weekend phone calls are free. They are giving them away. Well, the majority of telephone usage is in business hours, so the phone companies have to have enough kit and staff in place to fulfill business usage. In the evening and weekends, when most businesses have gone home, the phone companies are left with spare capacity that costs money. It's better for them to appear to give it away for free than not have it used at all. By charging you less or nothing at all, the phone companies hope to balance out the demand so that all in all they make better use of their resources. So you can do the same. If you have limited capacity at certain times, you can agree with your customer that you'll charge less if they use it at off-peak times. However, be warned, customers must agree. Customer must not perceive the peak of agreement as the IT service failing to provide a proper service.
The concepts, techniques, and processes associated with demand management are critical to the success of any business. Specifically, demand management is the function of recognizing all demands for goods and services to support the marketplace. It consists of 4 major components: forecasting, customer order processing, making customer commitments, and interfacing between the marketplace and manufacturing systems. This course places emphasis on the forecasting component. It also covers one approach for managing demand in distribution, called Distribution Requirements Planning, DRP. All businesses, regardless of size or industry, must continually attempt to understand the magnitude of their customers' future demands for products and services. This information is utilized in operational planning processes to position supply chain resources, such as inventory and capacity, to satisfy customer demands in a timely and cost-effective manner. Done well, demand management can significantly improve the competitiveness of an organization. Conversely, unrealistic demand plans can cause unsatisfied customers, lost business, increased cost and lower profit, and inefficient utilization of company resources.
Okay, thank you for watching this movie. In the next movie, I will talk about the business relationship management. Thank you.